footballs,
bars,
Roofies.
robo-trippin'.
blueberry.
Children are being robbed of their futures as a result of drugs. Every 12 seconds, students experiment with illicit drugs for the first time, and 33% of students meet dealers in the hallways and campuses of their schools. Prescription drug abuse has risen by nearly 400%, exceeding the amounts of cocaine, heroin, and ecstasy combined. Millions of dollars are spent on programs to help kids with little or no impact on experimentation. Half of these kids will have used illicit drugs by the time they graduate. Drug-related crime among young people continues to escalate, which threatens the lives and safety of the communities in which they live.
This documentary will discuss 3 of the main drug groups: opioids, depressants, and stimulants, as well as the effects they have on the youth population.
Opioids are used to reduce pain by affecting the areas of the brain that control emotions, therefore diminishing any painful stimulus. Opioids are often used before or after surgeries or as a way to relieve pain, coughs, and diarrhea. Medications that are included in this category are hydrocodone, oxycodone, morphine, codeine, and related drugs. These type of drugs are typically in pill form, but can also be snorted or injected. When used properly, opioids are effective in treating pain, but when abused can result in serious consequences. One-time and short-term use of opioids include drowsiness, slowed breathing, constipation, unconsciousness, nausea, and coma. When used long-term, users will often form a physical dependence on the drug, which often leads to addiction. Once addicted to the drug, users will experience withdrawal symptoms if drug use is to be reduced or to end altogether. Withdrawal symptoms that may occur include restlessness, muscle and bone pain, insomnia, diarrhea, vomiting, cold flashes, goosebumps, and involuntary leg movements.
All right, let's talk about prescription painkillers,
Sure.
which we know now takes the lives of more Americans than heroin and cocaine combined.
That's right.
So when you take a painkiller,
This is a classic example. Back pain, you want it for your back, and then the medication goes right to these 2 reward centers, and that's all the codeines, morphines, all the ones that we're talking about that are addicting. The great thing is they go to these reward centers, but those are the same reward centers that light up when you're on cocaine, cigarettes, sex, gambling, all those reward centers that we talk about. The problem is they get fatigued. So after a while, if it's working, that medication comes down and you see the back gets very quiet and the pain goes away. That's if you use it as prescribed and for the right amount of time. But if you fatigue your brain, what's going to happen is you're going to have medication come down, and you know what? It's going to take more and more and more and more to take care of that spot, and that's when you become an addict.
And you develop a tolerance over time as well to those drugs. Well, Dr. Nancy Steinman, great information. A lot more we'll talk about next time.
Depressants or downers are used to reduce the symptoms of a mental illness or to be used as sedatives and sleeping pills. These drugs come in multicolored tablets and capsules, as well as in liquid form. Some short-term effects of depressant use are slow brain function, low blood pressure, poor concentration, dizziness, disorientation, fatigue, and depression. High doses can lead to memory impairment, poor judgment and coordination, and suicidal thoughts. Some may experience the opposite, resulting in agitation or aggression. When mixed with alcohol, depressants can lead to death. The tolerance to depressants develops quickly. Users need more and more to achieve the same effect. Long-term effects are depression, chronic fatigue, and sleep problems. Weight gain and diabetes have also been shown as a result of the use of depressants. Some common depressants are Zyprexa, Xanax, and Amitol. Common street names for depressants are Barbs, Candy, Reds, and Yellow Jackets.
You don't have to be addicted to any chemical to have a problem. If you look at the top 3 reasons for young people passing away, it's accidents, homicides, and suicides. And all of them are related to drugs and alcohol use.
I got stabbed in a drug deal. I woke up from a blackout. I was getting my head kicked into a cement pillar.
I failed a lot of classes because getting high was more important than staying in school.
During that 4-month period of time where I was drinking every single day, I just screwed over everyone in my life.
And I didn't care. That was the sad part. I would hurt people and I would say things and do things that were horrible, and I just didn't care because all I cared about was the alcohol.
From birth until your mid-20s, your brain is changing dramatically. A lot of the circuitry between your neurons are becoming more and more complicated. And when you use alcohol or tobacco or other drugs, you're killing brain cells and damaging that growing process.
Stimulants are used to temporarily increase alertness and speed up the body's systems. Types of stimulants include amphetamines, caffeine, cocaine, diet pills, methamphetamines, and ecstasy. Common street names for stimulants are uppers, black beauties, speed, snow, and kibbles and bits. They come in the form of tablets or capsules and are generally swallowed, but can also be injected in liquid form or crushed and snorted. Physical side effects include dizziness, tremors, headache, flushed skin, chest pain, excessive sweating, vomiting, and abdominal cramps. Psychological side effects include depression, anxiety, drug craving, and fatigue. Stimulants can be used for medical reasons and are used to treat obesity, narcolepsy, and ADHD. There are also stimulants that are not used for medical purposes and have high potential for abuse. Stimulants like tobacco and caffeine do not require a prescription at all, and everyone has access to them. Stimulants can be both positive and negative based on how they are used.
A new study reveals how many kids are using prescription stimulants and how often the medications are being misused or shared with other people. A team of researchers led by the University of Florida surveyed over 11,000 kids between the ages of 10 and 18 in 10 U.S. cities. Entertainment venues like malls, movie theaters, and parks were used to find study participants. They were asked to fill out questionnaires that included pictures of many drugs commonly prescribed by doctors to help kids pay attention and do better in school. The study shows that nearly 15% of kids have used a prescription stimulant like Adderall or Ritalin at some point in their lifetimes. Even more disturbing, in the 30 days before the survey, more than 7% of preteens and teenagers were taking prescription stimulants, and more than half of those children were using drugs for non-medical purposes.
The youth are taking these medications and taking them from their friends and others because they think it's safe. They think, well, these are prescribed and, we know all about them and they've got to be safe. So if you can use them, I can use them.
Health experts say taking prescription medications for any reason other than what they are prescribed for is dangerous and can cause severe side effects.
This happens in all parts of the United States. It happens in the suburban areas, the urban areas, and the rural areas, and that there's so many similarities rather than differences in these rates of use.
Researchers say more education is needed to get children to stop sharing medications or using them for non-medical purposes to help cut down on this growing problem. At the University of Florida, I'm Chris Berlovich.
Drug abuse has multiple negative effects on a student's academics. From continual absences to poor grades, using illicit drugs and alcohol can cause damaging academic problems that are difficult to recover from. Drug use can also cause mental and cognitive impairments that make it difficult for students to succeed in school. For example, alcohol intoxication can result in negative impacts on cognitive functions such as concentration, memory, and attention for 48 hours.
Nearly 9 out of 10 high school students say that some of their classmates are either drinking alcohol, doing drugs, or smoking cigarettes during the school day. This is according to the 17th annual Back to School survey from Columbia University's National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse. Almost half of students say they know a fellow teen selling drugs on campus. For the 6th straight year, 60% of high school respondents say they attend a drug-infected school. When it comes to private schools, more than half of students say drugs are prevalent on campus, compared to just over a third of students last year. 3 out of 4 teens who saw pictures on social networking sites of their peers partying with alcohol or marijuana said this encourages teens to party in the same way. Teens exposed to these types of pictures were 4 times more likely to have used marijuana and more than 3 times more likely to have used alcohol. And what parents think about drug use matters. When teens said their parents would be extremely upset if they used marijuana, they are 4 times less likely to have smoked pot. Parents are encouraged to talk to their kids about substance abuse and to stay actively engaged in their lives.
Adolescents are faced with many challenges where they must make decisions that could significantly impact their lives. The decisions made with alcohol and drugs have the potential to impact all areas of life, either positively or negatively. There are several ways in which teens can prevent themselves from letting alcohol and drugs have a negative effect on their lives.
Don't be afraid to say no.
Connect with friends and avoid negative peer pressure.
Make connections with parents or other adults.
Learn to enjoy life without drugs or alcohol.
Be educated about drugs and alcohol.
Be a role model and set positive examples for others.
Speak out and take control.
And get help if you need it.